I am DM Zone, this is Gamers Oasis. Let's get into it. In this video, I'm going to talk about the spell Water Breathing. I'm going to talk about how it can be used, and with some approval from the referee, some outside the box logic that might be applied to it. As this is a third level spell, I think it should be fairly powerful, and I'm focusing specifically on that near the end of the video. So this spell states, a spell whereby it is possible to breathe underwater without harm or difficulty. It then goes on to say that it has a range of 30 feet or 3 inches on the sand table, and it lasts for about 12 turns. Now I'm going to believe that's 120 minutes based upon the level of the spell and what this actually does. I do not see that this target grows gills or anything that would specifically identify it or that would prevent it from breathing normal air. It just says it's able to breathe underwater and moves on. So I see this as some sort of magical manifestation of air that either appears within the body or that you're able to reuse the air without having to take on more. How specifically that works does have some minor details, like whether you're blowing air bubbles out and this type of stuff, whether you have no air to breathe, you are able to make more. Does it do both? I think there's a lot of things you could look into this exactly how that would work. For example, if you were to fall into a vat of oil, does the water breathe still work? If you were to fall into a gelatinous cube, besides taking the damage from the acid of the cube, are you able to still breathe? Now, the only thing I can find about drowning in original Dungeons & Dragons, and I'm going to make a video specifically about this later this month probably, is when you look into the cursed bowl of watery death. This bowl appears to look like a different type of magic bowl. I'm going to get into that in that video. If used, you become really small, fall into the bowl, and within a D4+1 turns you die. I'm assuming that's combat rounds, not 20 to 50 minutes of being underwater. The way you can survive this is to have someone cast a growth spell on you or pour a potion of growth into the bowl. This reference to drowning actually doesn't even come out until Greyhawk Supplement 1. So it's not even in the original rules. And while I would say that there's definitely a difference between being affected by a cursed item, being surprised, and then having your breath taken away and how quickly you die, versus I'm swimming and I just run out of air. I do think there's a difference between those two. This does give us a framework, I guess you could say, to work on drowning rules. Why do I feel like these times are different in one place than they are in the other place? Well, a lot of that goes into the fact that there's a chance of a person knowing how to swim. And basically, it said 50% of sailors, if I remember right, knows how to swim. And then that if people are wearing armor types, then they have a chance of drowning that is much higher. If you're wearing plate mail, you have a 100% chance of drowning. And you can't even have a chance to remove it because it's just going to take too long. The only one that you actually can remove to remove the chance of drowning is chainmail. So where are the drowning rules specifically? They're really not there. And as you can see here with the bowl of watery death, it just basically says drowning occurs. There's not a lot of specifics to this type of thing. So having things like this in the game, drowning and this type of stuff, and your proximity to water, and if you're planning to go in water that day, has a lot to do with whether you feel like this spell is worth it. If this only works in water and not like if you get trapped in the avalanche or covered by sand or fall into a vat of oil or into a gelatinous cube, there may be a lot fewer reasons to take this spell unless you know you're going to be doing something underwater. I love how this is expressed in later editions, but I think if you were to have some sort of water-born god, you could be able to maybe swap this spell out for a third level spell. So any third level spell could potentially become water breathe. Therefore, you don't actually have to have it specifically memorized when this happens. Also, if you were to cast water breathe on the person who went into the bowl through the watery death, I think that could be a way to stall or to save them from that effect. Anyways, guys, do you think I got this right? Do you think I got this wrong? What would you guys do differently? Thank you. Have a great day and keep rolling those dice. Bye.